What if the single most expensive mistake you will ever make in retirement has nothing to do with the stock market, your mortgage, or your health insurance? What if it is sitting right there on a glossy brochure, wrapped in a photograph of a sunset cocktail and a promise of the vacation of a lifetime? Cruise lines are running one of the most sophisticated, most profitable, and most deliberately confusing pricing systems on the planet. And they are counting on one thing above everything else: that you will not look too closely. They are not hiding it in the fine print. They are hiding it in plain sight, behind smiling travel agents, loyalty program points, and early booking discounts that are not actually discounts at all. Seniors are being charged thousands of dollars more than other passengers on the exact same ship, the exact same week, the exact same ocean view, and the industry has spent decades perfecting the art of making sure you feel grateful for the privilege. That ends today, because once you understand exactly how this system works, you will never book a cruise the same way again. What if the vacation that promised you paradise was quietly picking your pocket the entire time? Cruise lines generate billions of dollars every single year, and a massive chunk of that money does not come from ticket sales. It comes from the passengers who never saw the extra charges coming. We are talking hidden fees buried in fine print, onboard spending traps engineered by behavioral psychologists, and pricing strategies so sophisticated they would make a Wall Street hedge fund manager blush. If you or someone you love has ever stepped foot on a cruise ship or is planning to, what you are about to hear is not just interesting. It is information the industry has spent enormous amounts of money hoping you would never find. If you are over 60 and you have ever booked a cruise by calling the reservation line, there is a very good chance you paid more than the person in the cabin right next to yours for the exact same view, the exact same square footage, and the exact same ship. Not a little more. We are talking hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars more, simply because the cruise industry has quietly built a pricing system that rewards people who know the hidden rules and punishes everyone who does not. And here is the part that should make your blood boil. None of it is accidental. If you are a senior traveler who has ever felt like you paid top dollar for a cruise and somehow still ended up on the losing end of the deal, this video is going to feel like someone finally turned the lights on. The cruise industry is a multi-billion-dollar machine built on beautiful photography, carefully scripted sales conversations, and a pricing structure so deliberately complicated that most passengers never fully understand what they actually paid for until they are already at sea. We are not talking about minor inconveniences or the occasional disappointment. We are talking about systematic, repeatable tactics designed to extract maximum money from passengers who are trusting, experienced travelers and frankly deserve a whole lot better than what they are getting. So if you are ready to stop being the most profitable person on the ship and start being the smartest one, stay with us, because we are breaking down every trick in the playbook. Now here is trick number 3, and this one is particularly cruel because it targets people who are simply trying to be responsible with their money. Cruise lines advertise early booking deals with deposits as low as $100, and they market these aggressively to seniors on fixed incomes. It sounds like smart planning. Lock in your rate, secure your cabin, pay almost nothing up front. But buried inside the terms and conditions is a refund cancellation schedule that most people never read carefully. That deposit becomes fully non-refundable sometimes as early as 6 months before sailing. And here is the part that genuinely shocks people. A medical emergency does not automatically qualify you for a refund. Unless you purchased separate cancel for any reason coverage, that money is simply gone. The cruise line keeps it. No exceptions, no compassion. If you are a senior who has ever booked a cruise and felt like you got a great deal, there is a very good chance the cruise line disagrees with you, because they got a better one. These companies have spent decades perfecting the art of separating experienced, intelligent travelers from their hard-earned retirement money, using tricks so polished and so friendly-sounding that most people never even realize it is happening. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on every single one of them, and by the time we are done, you will never look at a cruise brochure the same way again. Now here is trick number 5, and this one is infuriating because it happens before you even unpack your suitcase. Cabins are stocked with minibar items prior to boarding, and many seniors are charged for things they never once touched. The reason this keeps happening is that the inventory system resets inconsistently between sailings, meaning leftover consumption from a previous guest can land directly on your bill. The cruise line is counting on something very specific here, that disputing a charge at guest services feels uncomfortable. Standing in line, explaining yourself to a stranger behind a desk, pushing back firmly, that requires energy and assertiveness that many older travelers simply do not want to spend on vacation. The lines know this, they have always known this, and that knowledge is built directly into their billing process. So let's pause right here for a moment, because what we've covered so far is already alarming. Tricks 1 through 5, the cabin shell game, the balcony illusion, the deposit trap, the hotel package upsell, and the minibar reset fee have collectively cost the average senior cruiser somewhere between $400 and $900. And here's the part that should genuinely stop you, that money was gone before the ship ever left port, before a single sunset, before one shore excursion. Now, we still have 10 more tricks to get through, but I need you to stay with me specifically for trick number 9. It is the single most expensive trap on this entire list, and it is engineered to target people over 65 in a way that feels completely routine, almost medical, almost necessary, right up until that final bill arrives at your cabin door. Now here is where the money really starts to disappear fast. At embarkation, cruise staff approach seniors with a pitch that sounds almost mathematical in its certainty. The premium drink package, they say, pays for itself by day 2. It sounds logical. It sounds like a deal. But that math is built around someone drinking 6 to 8 alcoholic beverages daily. For a senior who enjoys 1 glass of wine at dinner and a morning orange juice, that package is a straight financial loss from the moment they sign. The cruise line knows exactly what the average senior consumes. They have the data, and yet the pitch never changes. What does change is the timing. This offer lands on boarding day, when excitement is at its absolute peak and critical thinking is at its absolute lowest. That is not a coincidence. Now here is where the numbers really start to climb. Ship-sold shore excursions run 60 to 90% higher than the exact same tour booked independently right there in port. That is not a small difference. That is sometimes hundreds of dollars per port, per person. And the pitch used to justify that markup is built almost entirely on fear. Seniors are told that independent tours are dangerous, unvetted, and unreliable. They are warned that if their independent tour runs late, the ship leaves without them. That threat feels very real when you are 70 years old in an unfamiliar country. But here is what they never tell you. The local operator running the ship's excursion is frequently the exact same company running the independent version at half the price. The danger narrative is largely manufactured to protect the markup. Now here is trick number 8, and this one is almost elegant in how deliberately it is constructed. On day 1, you are offered a specialty dining package at a discounted rate. Sounds reasonable. You hesitate, maybe you pass on it, thinking you will just pay as you go. Then you try to make a reservation at the steakhouse for 6:30, a perfectly reasonable dinner hour for most seniors, fully booked. You try 7, also gone. The only availability left is 9:15 at night, which simply does not work for most older travelers. So now you are ordering à la carte, paying per dish, per visit, and by the end of the sailing you have spent significantly more than that discounted package you turned down on embarkation day. The window was real. The availability was not. Now we reach the one that does the most financial damage. Ship medical centers operate like private emergency rooms with no competition and no price transparency. A basic consultation can run $300. An intravenous drip, another $500. Seniors with pre-existing conditions are statistically the most frequent visitors, which means they are also the most frequently billed. Here is where it gets deliberately complicated. The travel insurance sold directly by the cruise line, the one the booking agent recommends at checkout, routinely contains fine print excluding pre-existing conditions. So the passenger who needs care the most is also the one whose insurance pays out the least. The charges are framed as urgent and non-negotiable, and disputing them mid-voyage feels impossible. This single trick can add thousands to a sailing that was supposed to be affordable. As the cruise ends, a final cluster of charges quietly drains wallets. First, luggage handling fees. These are framed as standard procedure at disembarkation, presented alongside mandatory items on your final statement, yet they are technically optional. Most seniors never question them because the paperwork makes them feel compulsory. Then come the currency exchange booths positioned near the gangway on the final port day. The exchange rates offered are genuinely brutal, sometimes 15 to 20% worse than what any bank or airport kiosk would offer. And finally, the gratuity adjustment window. Passengers have the legal right to modify automatic gratuity charges, but that window closes quietly, usually overnight before docking. Most seniors never knew the window existed in the first place, because nobody on staff ever clearly explained it. Now we reach the 3 tricks that almost never make it into any consumer warning, and that silence is exactly what makes them so costly. First, mobility equipment rental on board. Wheelchairs, scooters, walkers, all available, all priced at a significant premium, and staff will never once mention that you could have rented the same equipment independently before boarding for a fraction of the cost. Second, prescription medication storage fees. If your medications require refrigeration, the medical center will store them and charge you for it. That fee is almost never disclosed at booking. Third, the post-cruise survey manipulation. Staff actively coach seniors to give perfect scores, sometimes offering small perks in exchange. Those inflated ratings bury the honest feedback that could protect the next traveler from experiencing everything we have just walked through together. Here is your single most powerful defense. Before you book anything, run this checklist. First, ask the cruise line directly for the lowest available category code in writing, not over the phone. Second, screenshot your refund window the day you deposit. Third, vet every excursion through independent local operators using TripAdvisor reviews from the last 90 days. Fourth, purchase travel insurance separately with a pre-existing condition rider, never through the cruise line. Fifth, if any charge appears on your final bill that you did not authorize, walk to guest services and say exactly this: I am formally requesting a documented charge review for my records. That single phrase triggers an internal escalation process most staff will not mention otherwise. Every trap covered today has a workaround. Cruising remains one of the absolute best values in travel. Happy travels, and now you know exactly where the traps are.